Hi, and welcome back to
Inspired to Game. I'm Sean.
And I am Lola. Today we are talking about a couple of roll and write games, or, if you will, a roll and color game. The first is Iron Made. This is a game that's currently on Kickstarter right now. And the next is called Vitreum. And this one is available right now on a website, which we will link to. Both of these are roll and color games. Now, before we give you our review of these games, we'll give you a very quick overview of how to play them. Iron Made is a roll and write game. To begin, you'll roll 2 dice and use the 2 numbers you get to choose the pattern and the color of the region you want to place on your map. Now, your map is made of a variety of hexes. To begin the game, just choose 1 hex and color in the combination of colors of the region that you have chosen. Once you have done that, you can decide whether or not you want to build a building into that hex. In order to do that, you need to have the required resources. To build a mine, which is the yellow A, you'll need 1 resource in order to build a level 1 mine. You'll need 2 to build a level 2 and 3 to build a level 3. If you want to build an ironworks, you'll same thing, need a 1, 2, or 3 resource to build the corresponding level of building. The other building you can build is green, which is your factory, level 1, 2, or 3, or you can build a warehouse with blue resources, 1, 2, or 3. To begin the game, you will have 1 resource of each color, meaning that you can create a level 1 building of any of these types. Once you decide what building you want to place, you will write in the letter and number of the building you're creating, as well as filling in the areas as indicated by that level. Now, for each building, the areas that are already filled in is an indication of its capacity. So, for instance, the level 1 mine has a capacity to give off 1 unit of goods. A level 2 has a capacity to give off 2 goods, 3 goods. Now, a level 1 ironworks has the ability to receive 1 good, and then once it has received that good, to also send off 1 good. The level 2 can receive 2 goods and then send off 2 goods, and so on and so forth. This goes up for all the various levels. Now, an important point to note here is that when you place these buildings, the B and the C and the D, you cannot actually send anything off until it receives something, which gets into the next part of the game. So once you have built your building, you look to see if any flow of goods transpires. At the beginning of the game, you won't be able to move any goods through anything, so you will just proceed to the beginning of the steps and roll a die, and so on and so forth. Once you have a few regions and a few buildings built, you may be able to start moving goods through. Goods flow must always start with the mine. The mine must give goods off to the ironworks, and then the ironworks can move goods off to the factory, and the factory can move goods off to the warehouse. When you have moved off and received the full quantity of goods that building can receive and give, that building is considered complete and will be scored for the end of the game. To mark that, you will place the number of that completed building's value within the circle. Now, to gain more resources to build these buildings, you need to create matching color combinations in your region placements. Every time you place a region that connects up to the same colored region, you're going to get 1 resource for that. That can be used to create new buildings. If you ever decide not to place a building, you can place an X on that region instead. Play continues just like this until all the regions have been filled and all your buildings have been placed, and hopefully all your goods have been delivered. Vitreum is a roll and color game where you're going to be rolling dice and using that number to color in stained glass windows. You'll be doing this to fulfill certain guidelines, looking for certain amounts of colors, certain combinations of colors, as well as certain patterns of colors. Throughout the game, you'll be filling it up bit by bit, trying to score as high as you can. At the end of the game, you can see which player has scored the most points and made the most beautiful stained glass window. So, Iron Made. Now, this is a surprisingly thinky roll and write game.
Yeah.
there's a lot going on here. Now, it's fun to color. Like, I like the coloring aspect, and the thing that I like about it too is that the colors give you a really nice visual of the pathways and how you lead the pathways through. But what's really interesting about these, so each of the different levels of buildings, they cannot, so the mine is the only one that can give out goods as it stands. It's the mine, that's where it comes from. But each of the next levels, the B and the C and the D, they cannot send anything out until they have received something. So there's a flow that you need to establish. So you have to have the A in order to supply the B, you need to have the B to supply the C, you need to have the C to supply the D, and they must flow in the proper colors. Now, the important thing here too is you need to be putting down different colors, making different connections in order to have the resources to build the buildings. It's insane.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it broke my brain just a little bit.
Yeah, it took me a while to really get a good feel for it. But once I got a feel for it, it was so satisfying and it was a ton of fun. I really like playing it solo, so you can play this with people, or you can play it solo even. They do have scenarios, or you could even just be working against your high score.
One of the great things about a print and play game like this is that it is so economical. You can get it for so little money compared to the big box games that are being produced somewhere and shipped out to you across the country, across the world.
And it feels like there are so many games that are getting into the $100, $200, up to $700, and there's a place for these too, but most of us can't afford them. What's really nice about the print and play, and particularly one that's just a single page too, so you're not having to print out millions of pages, you're not having to cut things up and into little cards and so on and so forth. It's just a one page. And what we like to do with our print and plays as well is you only need to print as many sheets as you have players, and you can even put them in transparencies, so you can see that in our videos that we have taken. We have them in transparencies, and we use dry erase markers that just erase, and it's nice and simple. You can also laminate them for an even nicer look. But it means that you're not even having to print out loads and loads of stuff, so it's very economical, and these games can be a lot of fun. What's nice too is you can play them with any number of people because of that. And so we're going to give you a link to their website because they have a ton of games on there which are really, really interesting to choose from. So that will be in our description. Now this one, as I said, is currently on Kickstarter, and we're going to give you a link to that as well. So it is in its final days, and it's only a few dollars. So if it sounds like it's something that might be interesting to you, check out their campaign. Now, the only issue we had was some difficulty with the rules, but they do have how to play online too. That helped us out. But it was tricky learning this one and understanding, because it wasn't made clear to me that each of the buildings as they were represented their capacity. So once I understood that, because that didn't seem clear to either of us, that is like, oh, okay. So, because otherwise we weren't understanding the top and the bottom, because the bottom is coming in, the top is going out, and exactly how that worked confused us. So once we understood this concept, we were better.
It was the coloring the building in at the beginning is something different than coloring them in when you ship or receive the goods in that building. That's what that's what was confusing me. Yeah,
so when I figured out, because the level ones are more filled already just because they have a lower capacity. Think of them like a smaller building or smaller mine, whereas the higher ones are more empty because they have a greater capacity. They can take in more, and therefore they can send out more. And because of that, you can never send out in a building that has less on the bottom than they have on the top. So figuring all that out made a big difference, and I really do enjoy this game. So check it out if you like a good roll and write, or if you like to color with your roll and writes. Now the next one we want to talk about too, this is called Vitreum, and this is the one that really attracted me to their website. When I took a look at it, I love the concept of this roll and color, because I've always loved to color. And so combining coloring with gaming is, yes, please. So I was really excited about this. And this one is also a nice little thinky game too. It's a lot of fun to fill out your stained glass windows, trying to get them to the right specifications as dictated by the guidelines. So the guidelines have various different scoring mechanisms. From one is how many are there, or in different sets of twos, or in different shape orientations as well. It makes it fun to put together the different combinations and to try to score as best as you can. So this one is currently already available on their website for just a few dollars. Check it out if it sounds interesting to you as well. On their website, they have a whole range of different roll and write games, from adventure, economic, role-playing, solo, I said economic, so I'm repeating myself. It's just really interesting, all that there is. Now, I'm really curious, do you like roll and write games? And if you do, what are your favorite ones? Because they're certainly not for everybody, but they are a lot of fun to play. I think our biggest limitations when it comes to roll and writes is we find that they get out of sight, out of mind. And because of that, we've actually been talking about creating a video and working up some kind of a system of maybe within a binder, and have well organized all our roll and writes so that they're easy to see, because we tend to forget about them and then we don't get them to the table as much as we'd like to. Thank you so much for watching today.
If you've enjoyed this content, please check out some of our other videos and consider subscribing.
And as always, happy gaming, folks. Iron Made. Like, as in made iron, not like as in a maiden of iron. That would be cool too. It's a lot of fun to build this space. Anything else?
No.
Dice, and you'll use them to determine the location. No.
Do I want to say that part?
Do you want to?
Sure, I can say
Okay, go
that
for
part.
it.
Right now.
Yeah, right now.
It's a print and play roll and write? Yes?
Yeah, I think we've established that, hopefully. I hope we've established that. Anything else? Anything else? Thank you so much for watching today. If you've no, I almost took your line.
Oh no. What would we?
Well, thank you so much for watching today.
If you've enjoyed this content, please check out some other. If you've enjoyed this content, please check us out. Why can't I speak?
Let me start again.
Okay.
or not.
Okay.